And we're back with the Pop Culture Cosmos. Gerald Glassford come right back at you here. Thanks so much for watching and listening. It's truly appreciated. Want to go ahead and mention if you've not caught everything that we've done, starting with Inside Sports Fantasy Football, the Lakers Fast Break, or Pop Culture Cosmos, you're missing out on a ton of great stuff that you need to go ahead and check out. Please go ahead and check out and subscribe today to the Pop Culture Cosmos. And of course, right here at the Lakers Fast Break, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and of course, wherever we are at with the Pop Culture Cosmos. It's Gerald Glassford. Thanks so much again for watching and listening. With that, I'd go ahead and bring on a man who knows so much about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, that was until the last episode of Loki that we just saw, because in this latest episode of Loki, season 2, it looks like the MCU as we knew it is now been evaporated. But again, there's still 2 episodes of left for Loki, so we're not quite sure. But here today to discuss the implosion or explosion of the temporal loom and all the timelines being possibly destroyed. Good man indeed. He is the man of true knowledge. You got to go ahead and check him out today at the MCU's Bleeding Edge. It is Jeff Sloboda, and Jeff, great to have you here, my friend. Looking forward to a great conversation. Uh, Ox 1947 says the end of Disney needs to happen. No, it doesn't. I disagree wholeheartedly. But your thoughts, my friend, with Loki season 2 coming down to it. Just unfortunately, looks like that the MCU as we know it is about to change.
I mean, it's a mixed bag, I think what you already know. And thank you very much, Gerald. It's good to be back. It's good to have a chance to talk to you. A lot going on. I'll tell you, Gerald, after Secret Invasion, Loki season 2 couldn't have come at a better time. Although there's a little bit of inconsistency I'm noticing right now with the Disney Plus and the films, like a little bit of we've talked about this before,
That's been very inconsistent at best, is to say it nicely.
When you blend them together like that, and then they don't all they don't got all hit, but if they don't, yes, it just the whole cake suffers, the whole pie suffers, and so, but yeah, I mean, it looks like, I don't know what the hell. Maybe this is the reboot right here. Maybe in episode 5, Kevin Feige's going to pop up in the show. And no, I'm just joking. But no, episode 4 was great. And honestly, Gerald, everybody that's been on the Bleeding Edge has really enjoyed Loki season 2 so far. Although we really enjoyed Loki season 1.
I thought it got off to a little bit of a tough start because it was trying to over-explain things. It felt like episodes of Star Trek that people just don't get sometimes, where they go and too much in technicalities and too much into details as far as the whole temporal loom, and they just sometimes talk over the general audience's head sometimes, and I think they did that for the first couple episodes. But once you start getting into more the consequences of what we saw in that brilliant 3rd episode, the production values on that episode, I don't want to say they were on par with the movies per se, but they're probably as close to the movies as what I've seen, with that 3rd episode where they went to the World's Fair. They went back in time into a earlier parts of history for Victor Timely. I really like that episode. And then obviously they've topped it off with what they've done in episode 4. So make it so that everybody that's watching, whether they follow the MCU or not, found it a little bit easier to swallow than those first 2 episodes. The first 2 episodes were very explanatory. And unfortunately, sometimes I could tell from what I saw on social media, it went over people's heads.
I think when it boils down to it, when it comes to the overall, like you like to focus on a lot, Gerald, because it's the crux of what you do. Your everyday person on the street that has never consumed the MCU at all and is going in, like, hypothetically, for instance, when I went to see Endgame one time out of the, I think 4 times I saw it. My girlfriend at the time went when she'd never seen a Marvel movie, but she understood what was going on during Endgame. I asked her a couple of different times periodically, do you get what's happening right now? And she's like, yeah, I kind of get the gist, and she was crying and everything during all the times when, everyone else was emotional and she understood what was happening. Now, this is the apex of 3 phases of that film. and they were still able to deliver that ability, to where they could give you the product. Now, of course, again, this is cinematically, and anyone could digest it and enjoy it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, it is tough, and I think that's why one of the reasons why they kept it really tight. The characters in this series are really tight. They really didn't expand the cast at all.
Yeah.
They're keeping it very.
Well, just adding Ke Huy Quan as a major character, but other than that, you're right. They've kept it pretty much what they had it last year.
That's right. And so I think it's because they are using it as sort of a conduit to, again, sort of explain time, the multiverse, according to this universe, right?
Yeah.
Which is what season 1 sort of was a bridge to the multiverse. And this is the same kind of thing. I think the difference is this is the multiverse and also time.
Now it's interesting that they placed this event, the destruction of the temporal loom, and also as well the untimely, pardon the pun, death of Victor Timely, as he got disintegrated due to the radiation leaking from the temporal loom and the ultimate explosion that happened shortly thereafter. It's interesting that they placed it where they placed it with 2 episodes left, because we've seen footage in the trailers, preceding it, that there is something beyond what the final moments of episode 4. So it's seemingly going to go somewhere different. It's going to go to a timeline or timelines, but we're not sure exactly which. So it's interesting where Marvel placed this event instead of, let's say, a cliffhanger for the season ending of season 2. Your thoughts on where they placed it with 2 episodes left?
With 2 episodes left, as far as the series goes, I mean, I love it because I think we'll appreciate it more when the series is over. It's a slow burn.
Because a typical show would have left something like that for the exact end of a season and or series.
That big of a cliffhanger, yeah, where you're basically, everything is, the temporal loop is exploding, right? And that energy is about to disintegrate everybody. But we've already seen the trailer, so we already know there's more episodes. Just
Absolutely.
like we know that Majors is supposed to be in one more episode.
I think it's gutsy because, again, the normal Hollywood call would have been to just end that, so have people talking about not knowing exactly what's gone on, not exactly what's going to happen, and what's going to go on for future of the series as a whole. So it's interesting to see where it was placed and how that's going to affect it going forward. Is this going to be still a cataclysmic event that's going to shape the entire universe for Marvel going forward, or is it going to be almost like like a false event, so to speak, where it isn't going to end up being as big or as important as it were seemingly let off to be?
I think now I could be wrong. It's happened more than once, but I think the placement of this before Deadpool 3 is great, is really great. Because if you think about it, with What If coming out next, now don't get me wrong, the schedule's been gone, has been gone to Hades, Gerald. Right? The last time I think we got together and recorded, we were both going back.
Yeah, I don't even. When I'm on the show now, I just report when they make the changes. I don't actually, like remember that they had the timeline out at the last time that they were at Comic-Con, not this past Comic-Con, but the Comic-Con, but last year Comic-Con, they had everything measured out. Everything was fine, groovy. That's just like what we saw in this latest episode. You could pretty much blow that up too, because everything has changed since then. Projects have been started, products have been changed, projects have been, completely altered, been moved back years in some cases. So yeah, that timeline that was originally sent out to us on the future of this phase of the Marvel, or the next couple phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they're totally different from what they are in actuality now.
Well, again, but now I say to you, I could be wrong, because I feel like this is great placement with Deadpool, but Deadpool's not even going to come out in May.
No, that got pushed back to October.
It already got pushed back to October.
Yeah. Right, it already got pushed back to October. It was funny because now remember that movie was going to be in late 2024. Then it got bumped up ahead of Captain America to May 2024.
Yeah.
But then last week it got bumped back to October 2024, which is a very curious placement. October, even though we're in October now, realistically, very few
No.
non-horror movies would make any imprint, sans horror movies, or in this case, a Taylor Swift movie, make really consistent progress on movies. So I'm curious to see if Deadpool 3's ultimate actual placeholder for a date will still be in October. Will it be pushed back to December, or will it be moved up to July? You know what I mean? I'm just not 100% sure it's going to stay in October.
We don't know how much. No one can is I can't find. I watched a lot of stuff on this and read a lot of stuff. Nobody really knows for sure what they've shot, what they
Yeah.
have in the can.
Yeah.
So there's reports that what did the director say? I think he said they've already shot like half the film. Didn't he say that?
Yeah, but unfortunately, due to the SAG strike, they were not going to complete work in enough time to make the May release.
No, and that makes perfect sense. With post production and everything and whatnot and all that, it would make no sense that they would still have a
I mean,
film.
they can continue writing now because the writer's strike part of it has ended. But unfortunately, nobody can act on it yet until that issue has
Sure.
been solved.
So the question is going to be now: is Captain America 4 going to actually make its scheduled date? Now and again,
I have a feeling that one's been already was closer to completion. I have a feeling that one was already.
I'm holding on to that. I really am. I mean, I will pre-buy my tickets for that one, Gerald. Not for the Marvels, but I'll definitely, because there'll be plenty of open seats anyway on opening night.
That's still expected to generate anywhere from 80 to 100 million. So
it could still do well.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese is still probably upset. I've made the joke a couple times now on the show about, okay, Martin Scorsese is without a doubt one of the greatest auteurs of all time. I'm never going to take that away from him. But his vitriol on superhero films and non-cinema-like films that he feels qualifies as cinema, and whatnot, especially in this recent press tour for Killers of the Flower Moon. It's just ironic that his $200 million plus 3.5 hour Killers of the Flower Moon is going to be superseded by A, Taylor Swift's concert movie, B, Five Nights at Freddy's, and then C, a superhero and the Marvels. They're all going to do better than that movie.
For real, he's pretty much been the spearhead, hasn't he? Always been he's been the biggest critic.
Yes, biggest detractor. He was the first one to speak out publicly on the Marvels, just basically the superhero genre.
The superhero genre. He didn't say the MCU. The superhero genre was going to ruin
the superhero films. Basically, the ways that fans embrace superhero films in the previous decade. He obviously did not like the trend of it going up and up and up. Obviously, starting, but he won't say bad things about Jonathan Nolan, who filmed 3 Batman films. And I'll just leave it at that. But again, the Marvels is coming up as well. We'll see how well that does at the theaters. But it's just interesting to see, getting back to Loki, where the series is going to go, where the series is going to continue. There will be some type of continuance or something of ramifications as far as what we see with Loki and his character going forward. And I'm glad to see it, because Loki was derived out of a short-term villain role. That was supposed to be a short-term, one film, most likely best role that is expanded into almost 15 years worth of quality.
I know, it's insane.
Work from Tom Hiddleston, and it's all because of Tom Hiddleston. So his character is now very much beloved, and is now gone from what he was to probably now what you would say be one of the most popular characters in the entire Marvel film history. And to see him, I just hope I get to see his character continue on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't think they have any plans to get rid of him anytime soon, unless he chooses that he wants to.
No, I mean, he's in really good shape. He looks very youthful. Mm-hmm. Obviously the character doesn't age, right?
Yes.
He looks pretty much the same as he did in the Avengers. Honestly, I think the fact that he started off as a villain is the reason why people have a hard time considering him one of the OG Avengers type characters, even though he
Mhm.
is. He's
Yeah.
not an Avenger, but he's like an OG. He's one of the OG core characters that's still left over from phase one,
Yeah.
right? And anybody that's from that pantheon, right, is like automatically for me. I mean, that's they're like I don't want to say I worship them, but I mean, I would probably pay to watch the Avengers wash their hair. At least like the classic Avengers. You know what I'm saying? Like the original
That's,
six.
well,
So
I don't know if you're going to get that back. You may get that back in a Secret Wars type deal if they're ever brought back together in some type of scenario. And then, of course, Disney and Marvel has to throw out enough cash at them to get them all in the same place at the same time because, with Robert Downey Jr., he seems like he's done with the role. Chris Hemsworth, there's rumors that he could be coming back for Thor 5. You never know that's quite possibly the case with Scarlett Johansson. That's a different story altogether
uh,
because she and Marvel have been at ends, and excuse me, she and Disney have been at odds with each other in the past, and I don't know if she'll ever, put on the suit for Black Widow ever again. But we'll wait and see. But her contributions to superhero films should never be in question because a whole generation of young ladies grew up to emulate and want to really realistically style themselves after her characters. So that should never be undervalued or underappreciated. But yeah,
no,
just the way this universe that we've seen for so many years, my friend. You talk about the original Avengers. I think we'll probably get at some point down the road. We'll probably get like one cameo with all of them, just to get that quick as they say in wrestling, that quick pop type deal. But outside of that, I don't think you'll ever see them at the same place, same time for an extended period of time again.
and I don't need to. And you're right. And I think that ScarJo is going to get again. I think down the road, as you look back, I mean, God, she first came into the MCU in what 2010,
Yes.
so something like
Iron
that.
Man 2.
Iron Man 2. So I think down the road over time, I think that people will look back and they'll give her the proper due that she should get probably. I agree with you 100%. I
Yeah,
thought
I mean, you just had to basically, my girls are a great example, but also when you went to Disneyland in the mid 2010s, you could just see clearly the influence she had as far as to young ladies all over the world. So,
that's awesome. See now, and that's one of the things Gerald. We don't have time today, but the fact that Marvel brings people together, that families together, children together with their parents and whatnot, everything is something that's very important. And that's why I don't want to see us lose it. So like I make fun of the Marvels, right? But I think you're right. I think it will do well. Loki's been great. Season 2's been great. Like I said, thank you for having me on. As far as what I think for episode 5 and 6, I think it's going to be two really great episodes, and we're probably going to see a lot of Loki and Sylvie together, right? And then He Who Remains will come back.
so I ask you this, my friend, what are you and the team behind the MCU's Bleeding Edge talking about right now when it comes to that, or what else are you guys working on at the MCU's Bleeding Edge?
I don't know. Where we're at right now is kind of in a place where we're doing a lot of episodical TV.
Mhm.
And so we just got done finishing The Walking Dead, right? The spinoff series. We just got done with Daryl Dixon.
Which one? Yeah, Daryl Dixon. Okay, you
We,
got to
we
say
did,
which one now because there's a
oh,
few spinoffs.
we did Dead City, and then we
Okay.
did Daryl Dixon.
Okay, because Fear the Walking Dead is on its last legs, and then
Yeah,
you've
it
got
is.
the Rick and Michonne show. This just should have said Rick and Michonne. I don't know why they make it hard to change it to. They just put the Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne. It's going to get a lot more viewers. I'm just going to tell you that
And
right now.
supposedly they're going to try to. They're not going to do. It's not going to be a cinematic universe kind of deal, but
No, that's
they are going
that's
to try. They're going to try to pay it off.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
the
definitely
finale.
time.
I mean, in the finale of Daryl, we saw Carol, and which I think is great because I think in season 2 we're going to be looking at a dichotomy. They're going to parallel the two characters.
Yeah, she didn't want to go overseas to film
Yeah,
to film Daryl Dixon, but now that season 2 is coming back, she's going to go ahead and be back on for season 2 with Daryl Dixon. Now that they renamed it with Daryl and Carol, they put her name into it too. So then you've got Dead City, with Negan and Maggie. So yeah, the Walking Dead universe, they're trying to hang on, squeeze every single dollar that they can out of it, and I don't blame them. But
Daryl was
I think,
okay. Dead City was a little rough, but
yeah, but it's nowhere near what it once was. You got to admit
no,
that. Yeah, but
no. Are you
I
kidding me?
think they'll get them back for a reunion thing, a special thing at some point in time down the road, and to finish it all off.
It
And
was just something good for us to start on our new Monday show
yeah,
that we call the Bleeding MCU's Bleeding Edge Report.
hmm,
It was a good backbone to have, so just
it's
for the
good.
first year, so that we had something. I could lay something core down for us to make sure
Yeah,
we always had something to cover. You
hmm,
know what I mean? What not? Well, at the same time, giving us some fluidity. You know how it's nice to have that because
of
stuff just
course.
pops up.
Yeah,
You go to the movie theater and you go to see a film. I went to see The Creator the other day, and you see trailers for TV series that are coming out next year, and I'm
yeah,
like, oh, I wouldn't mind reviewing that. So that's what we're doing. We're doing a lot of episodical TV. We just reviewed The Godfather. Cyber never seen it before, so he really enjoyed it. That was a really great experience. It was fun seeing Cyber review The Godfather for the first time. I moderated it. We're reviewing a lot of like regular movies, a lot of stuff like Coming to America and The Godfather, and kind of across the board. We did The Hateful Eight the week before that. That was a great film. And then we've got What If coming up in December. So we're live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights. So we've got What If coming out in December.
is
Hopefully,
it coming out December or next year?
it's as of right now. Cyber and Andre's pop culture guy over at the Bleeding Edge and whatnot are telling me that it's still going to be this year.
Okay,
We'll
because
have to
some.
see.
Okay,
I'd
so
heard the same thing you're hearing, that it's not going to come out until January.
okay,
No,
so I'm not 100% sure when it's coming out. I thought they said next year.
we
So
got
we'll see.
X-Men 97 coming out next year.
Mhm.
That's going to be great. The animated
Yeah.
show. I'm looking forward to reviewing that. I've never reviewed an animated show besides What If, so that's going to be a lot of fun. And
Mhm.
that's pretty much it. Just and we're gonna be doing some DC animated films coming up here, so we really enjoyed that. We're working the whole collection,
Mhm.
chronologically. And we really enjoyed reviewing the DC animated films. I'm not a big DC fan, but they're great films.
Definitely looking forward to that. Some great stuff that you guys are doing at the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Please go ahead and check it out today. The MCU's Bleeding Edge. You and I still have to have an Ahsoka conversation. We got to go ahead and finish off Loki. I know you said you're not eager for the Marvels, but I'm going to be checking out the Marvels because I know I got some young ladies that want to go ahead and check it out. I know that there's still some stuff in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I want to deal with and check out. It's had its ups and downs. Let's not kid ourselves. Especially this year, there's been a lot more downs than ups when it comes to the MCU. But hopefully, Loki will finish off with his last two episodes on a high note, and at least the ending of this episode in season two, at least it's got us talking, my friend. At least it's got us talking.
Most definitely, yeah. And I think I'll be there for opening night. Disney will get my money. OX1947. Disney will get my money on opening night at the Marvels. I'll probably be there with my daughter too. So
Yeah, that they will. It's not the same as it used to be, but maybe it will be once again. It just depends on the storytelling by Disney and if it ever gets coherent to the point where people can follow along, both hardcores and general persons alike. So hopefully we can go ahead and get to the point where it's a dynamic once again, even though Martin Scorsese says he doesn't like that, but you know, it's more fun that way. We'll see. Once again, it is the MCU's Bleeding Edge. It's Jeff Sloboda. Please go ahead and check out the Man of True Knowledge along with his great casting crew each and every time out. I've been on the show. It's a true pleasure and honor to be on that show. There's a lot of great conversation. You got to go ahead and check it out. It is the MCU's Bleeding Edge. Jeff, great to have you back on, my friend. Looking forward to some more true knowledge that you can drop anytime right here in the pop culture cosmos.